This week's channel message from Isla, the mother of creation, is a forecast of the energy that we're moving into this week. And it's going to be all about a shaken up. There's going to be things rattling and change happening in each of our lives in different ways. And she's talking us through it, how we can move with that change in a new energy where we release, we allow, and we make space for what's coming in. So, welcome back to my channel, you guys. I am so glad you are here. Thank you so much for joining me. And for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel, which means I go into a deep meditative state or trance. And then from that state, I raise my awareness as high as I can go. I stretch a little higher and I connect. And then I channel either the angels or Isla, who is the mother of creation, the mother of all souls. So my format will be, I'm going to go ahead and share the original channeling, which I did last night. And then afterwards, I will break it down with you. We talk it through and we get a lot more out of it that way. It's a way of really integrating and implementing the message into our lives. So don't worry as you're listening to the message. If you start feeling the frequencies and you tune out and you can't hear or hold the words, that's kind of how I experience it when I channel, is I can't retain the words. I'm feeling the feelings, feeling the frequencies. So if that's you, just let it flow, and then you'll catch the message when we do the breakdown later. So this upcoming weekend is going to be an awesome one because this weekend is our Lift Your Light weekend. So I've been super looking forward to this. It is going to be an immersion weekend over Zoom with Isla, where we're going to be working on healing our resistance to joy. So being able to hold the vibration of joy is going to be a super important part of learning to create in New Earth, learning to work as a new creator. And we are meant to begin embodying these new ways of being now. It takes practice. We have to unlearn our old way of being, our old habits, the grooves in our brain. We got to train ourselves out of them and learn to do it a new way. So this is part of that is what ways are we in the way of our own joy? And we all have them. I do. So anyways, I'm super excited for the weekend. I hope you can join us if you haven't already. If you would like to sign up, it is on my website, anntucker.com, and you will see it right at the top. There is the Lift Your Light weekend, and we're going to be meeting Saturday, Sunday, and then there's a follow-up the following weekend, and it's going to be a combination of healing. We're going to be doing some deep work, and you'll come away with an awesome bedside resource that you'll be able to use to help you stay in that high vibration of joy long after the weekend is over. So, all right, you guys, if you are ready for the message, go ahead and relax, get settled, and let's listen to the channeling. Blessings. I am with you once again. There are underpinnings which are shaking free, rattling, loosening. There are many disturbing noises. There is much about you now that seems to be disappearing. There are things, there are places, there are people who are changing all around you. And this is part of what is opening. There is a reconfiguring going on in the energy field of Earth and of yourselves, where all things that once were counted upon can no longer be so. And that which you are is beginning to redefine how you shall find yourselves and your entry into this next season. There is a loosening and a letting go that is occurring. The loosening is the rattling. It is as if the earth has set down her end of what is your trajectory, like a rope that you have been pulling on. And now there's nothing to brace yourself against. There's nothing to pull hard upon. And you can only rest, set things down, and wonder what you are beginning. The rattling is occurring in all places and time zones. There's not one place or person who is exempt from this period of refurbishment, of reevaluation. All persons are subject to some degree of shaking loose in their lives. There will be something that you have counted upon that is no longer there or will no longer be there. The question is, how will it affect you? How will you choose to react to it? Will you cling to what has been, or will you release what is set down? Will you let it go? And will you allow yourselves to gestate in the unfamiliar? This is the opportunity before you to open your hearts to something new, to some new flavor of yourself, to some new opportunity you have not yet learned about. It begins with the rattling. Rattling can create fear, the sense of some impending loss, and it can create within you a drawing inward of settling yourself against what is new, of trying to maintain or keep a hold of what is trying very hard to break free. This will only lead you into a greater disbursement of energy, the loss of your own potential. It is giving away your own opportunity. Therefore, I say, be on regard. Be looking for what is shaking. Look for what is loosening. Look for what no longer has its same purchase upon your habits, your state of consciousness, what has begun to pull away from you, and let it go. Feel in your heart that there's a purpose for this. There's a reason for this, that you have finished something, that you have moved on, moved into a higher plane or state of being. This is a sign of your progress forward. This is evidence that your life has made a difference for you already, that you are changed from within, and that your old way, your old world no longer suits you. Let that which served be by. Let it go. And in the state of the unknowing, stay. Be at rest, be at peace, have faith that something, somewhere, someone will settle in your field of view very soon. And if you are in a state of peace, if you are willing to let go what must go its own road, your energy will be filled and renewed by the rest in between. Your state of consciousness will become opened and expansive, and new thoughts will enter into that dormant state. You will gestate something unfamiliar, something new, something untried, unspoken. This is a time, this is a moment. It starts with the rattling. Notice, what can you let go of? What has anchored you, kept you down into an older state of consciousness, an older sense of yourself, an old way of being, and let it go. There will be no troublesome occurrences in the creation of what is coming. There will be not a thought from within you that I should have kept it. What if I had only stayed? The only reluctance is found in the moment of letting go. Once it is gone, and you will not release your faith in yourself in the process. You will instead find yourself in a new placement of growth, in a new avenue through which your potential can be more easily found. I wish for you to stir your heart in these matters and to let it decide, let it choose, let your heart lead you as you are opening to this new potential. Let your body take on its own sense of things. Let it wander. Let it try things. Feel not the urge to control, to choose, to premeditate. Simply exist and continue, and this is all. And in this state of the unknowing, which I understand is not easy for you, there are new answers yet to be met, and they will not come in the form that you are wanting. They will not be given to you, offered to you neatly tied up in an envelope. They will instead rise from within you, one piece at a time, as you are willing. And the more energy and potential you have generated by letting go, the greater freedom you will find in your field for the creation of what is new. The scale of these changes are different for everyone. Some of you will find enormous changes come into your lives at this time. For some, it will be less important, but equally transformative in their own way. Allow yourselves to be at peace with what is on offer for you. Do not question your own reliability without what has begun to transform. Do not worry that you will be less of a person without it. Simply open your heart to the change that is occurring from within you and realize that reality is a reflection. You are transforming, and so is your world. I say bless you. Thank you. Goodbye. So, love it. This message has multiple levels, right? Multiple levels, because it has the level of the forecast, of an energy forecast looking ahead saying, hey, we're all going to be entering into a period that's going to have a variable level of change for each of us. And so she's really trying to say, become aware of it. This is a moment we want to be watching and looking and listening for what's rattling in our lives. What is trying to break free, like that wheel of the wagon, right? That needs to be replaced. It's going to be something new, something better that we need to be looking or listening. Some of you, it's going to be super obvious. And I would say that I'm willing to bet that for many of you, this process has already started. And I can say that's true for me. I've seen it in people around me for sure, that I've already seen where they've just recently, like in the last day or two, gotten the news, especially in the last day or two, the news that there's going to be some big change. So these energies have already begun and you may already see them manifesting for you. But if not, this is something to be on the lookout for as we're going into this upcoming time period. So I love it as that, as like a sort of a, hey, look ahead, this is what's coming. But I also love it as a explanation of why this is occurring and how do we deal with change in general in a really positive way. And I love the framing of like, what is change? Change is a reflection of you. And so if something in your life is falling away, it means you've outgrown it. Right? It means that you have moved into a new state, a higher frequency, and the thing that's falling away cannot match your frequency. So it's evidence of your progress. It's evidence that you have moved past whatever that was and that you don't need it anymore. Otherwise, it wouldn't fall away. So it's like sloughing off, like a snake shedding its skin, that you are moving into something new and something brighter, something bigger. So I love that as helping us to really understand it. And then the third level, we've got first, it's the forecast of energy. The second, it is this reframing of change. And the third is, what do we do with change? Like, how do we embrace this? How do we step into the new state of being and react to the change from our new state of consciousness? So that's the third level of this message. So I think it's really cool and something for us to use now and forever as really a way of thinking and working with change in our lives in the new way, in our new earth level of creation. Yeah, so cool. Let's go ahead and break the message down. All right, so here we are. She says, first paragraph, blessings, I am with you once again. There are underpinnings which are shaking free, rattling, loosening. There are many disturbing noises. There is much about you now that seems to be disappearing. There are things, there are places, there are people who are changing all around you, and this is part of what is opening. So here in the beginning, we're already getting a sense for what the message is about. It is this forecast of what's coming, these energies that are coming. And I like that she specifically uses the words shaking free, right? Something is trying to shake itself free. So this to me, we think sometimes about when we're done with an energy, like we imagine ourselves receiving all the benefit. When we're ready, we're done with it. We're going to shake off that old skin, right? Let it go. But what if that thing that you're letting go of has as much benefit from releasing you as you do of releasing it? Right? There's an interesting thought, is that what if in the letting go, You're actually unwinding an energy system that you had a part in holding in place. So there's a benefit for you, and there's a benefit for everything, for the whole world. Every time we are able to make a transition like this, right? We are creating more freedom for ourselves and freedom for everything, for everyone. So think about, for example, like who was that was saying that your son is moving to the other side of the country, right? There, it's difficult to let go, but you are generating freedom between you. Like that, your son is now going to have this brand new experience, and you as well are now as a new door. It's scary. It's difficult to think about, well, what's going to fill that void in my life? I guarantee you something will, and it'll be something that you didn't expect and something cool. And so it's up to us to open the door to that and say, okay, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to look like the relationship I had with my son, but it's going to look like something new and different, and it's going to stretch me and all those things, right? So this is a good example that it is, we are shaking free ourselves and everything, shaking the world free from an old state of being, rattling, loosening, right? And many disturbing noises. So this is something that we're not super excited about always, the idea of change. We don't love it. So, and there are things that may be disappearing, things, places, people, right? Changing all around you. And this is part of what is opening, right? So this is not a door closing, this is a door opening. And that really kicks us off for this whole message, is we're going to be focusing on the door that is opening. Next paragraph. There is a reconfiguring going on in the energy field of Earth and of yourselves, where all things that once were counted upon can no longer be so. And that which you are is beginning to redefine how you shall find yourselves and your entry into this next season. So here, interesting is why is this happening? Is because there is a reconfiguring in the energy field. Earth is changing, things are shifting, right? This shift is happening, and this is how one of the ways it's going to be reflected in our experience is through this period of whatever is going to be changing for us. So this is a reflection of a broader change that's happening in the field of the planet. So this idea that how it's going to manifest for us is that we're going to be redefining, right? We shall begin to redefine how you shall find yourselves. So I think about this, like how this has been showing up already, like what these changes might be. And she says later in the message, these can be small things, they can be big things. I can say for myself that I have been on like this complete campaign and it just came out of nowhere, reevaluate all of my habits. Like I used to always shower in the morning and then blow dry my hair, and now I'm like, I don't need to do that. And if I shower at night after I garden, it's much better, and let my hair air dry, and I just freed up 30 minutes of my life. So it's like amazing. And there's a bunch of things like that in my life that I'm suddenly questioning and realizing why not garden in the evening when it's cool rather than in the middle of the day when it's hot? Why not, and it's a ton of things where I'm looking at it saying, why have I always done it this way? This is not a very good way. Like I could do it differently. And so for me, it's showing up in daily habits. But like I just recently, like literally talked to a friend yesterday who was looking at the Enneagram, and she suddenly realized that her Enneagram number is not what she thought it was. That she's her main one, but her wing is not what she thought. So she's all of a sudden having to think about her identity in a new way, and challenging that new wing is the same Enneagram number that her ex-husband had, right? It's a number that has historically challenged her a lot. And she's now realizing she has that energy too. So she's having to sit with this and think, okay, what is the learning for me here? So it's a reevaluation of her identity is how it's showing up for her. So a third person that I know who all of a sudden just found out that their job is not going to be around forever, and that they're going to have to find a new job. And it's going to be combined with a new move. So total shift of life, job, everything coming for this person. So it's going to show up differently for everyone. And so the idea is, what might it be for you, but what is the transformation inside of it? And, I would say for myself, it's like habits don't seem like a really big thing, except they are a big thing because it's something I do every day. It's something that is part of my everyday life. And I am the key thing that is a part of all of these examples is the concept of freeing up energy. So it's super obvious for me that in the changes I'm making, they are all about trying to free up energy in my system. Free up time, like I'm spending way less time getting ready, right, in the day. And then same thing, freeing up, like I'm not so hot in the day. I could work a lot faster in the garden, and it takes me a lot less time to do what I need to do. So I'm literally freeing up time, energy, all of it with these simple adjustments to my daily routines. But that applies to all of this. All of it is about freeing up energy in one way or another. So, all right. So then the question is going to be either yours has already started, or you're in the midst of it, or it's coming. And so the idea is we got to listen for what's rattling. So she goes on to say, next paragraph, there is a loosening and a letting go that is occurring. The loosening is the rattling. It is as if the earth has set down her end of what is your trajectory, like a rope that you have been pulling on. And now there's nothing to brace yourself against. There's nothing to pull hard upon. And you can only rest, set things down, and wonder what you are beginning. So there's some interesting little bits in this paragraph. So first, number one is this idea of the rattling, is that this is what we're looking for. What is starting to break free? Where do you find it? It may show up for you like a sudden thought, like mine did, like, why am I doing it this way? Like that was my rattling. It was this sudden like aha moment of like, oh, this is actually easier. And then, but for you, it might show up as a feeling of discontent or irritability. It may show up as something not working the way it should. It may be literally a rattling in your car. You're driving in your car, and all of a sudden you hear a rattling, and you're like, oh no, who knows? It could show up in any which way. But the point is, it'll be something that indicates to you that the door is open for change. So what's important about this is that this is not necessarily a passive thing, right? There is an active component that we need to contribute to this process in order for it to be transformational. So we can choose to try to hang on to the way things have been and to try to nurse them along and try to keep hold of old thoughts or old dreams or old identities. Or we can notice the rattling right away and sit with it and say, this is interesting. This could be a door that's opening for me, right? And to invite in the change. So that's the difference. The thing I like about this paragraph is where she says that it's like a rope that we've been pulling on. So, and that there's nothing to brace ourselves against, nothing to pull hard upon. So this implies that everything in our life, we think of our life as being a very settled thing, right? Like think about me with my habits, is that it seems like it's just a thing I do. I don't even think about it. And we have so many things in our life that are like that feel very settled. This is what it is. But we are, and we've talked about this before, we are wave form. We are not solid. Humans, our consciousness, everything in our reality is in fact a wave. Oh, it's light, right? That has become dense enough to take on form. And we are light that is slowed down enough to become dense enough to look solid and to feel solid to us. We are waveform. So this idea that we are locked into something is a complete illusion. There's nothing that we are locked into. We are just recreating it moment by moment by moment by moment. Everything, even my habits. Every day I get up and I don't think, I just recreate that habit again. And I am, in fact, it's like, why would I do that? Why wouldn't I question it rather than just doing it by rote every day? Because that's what I've always done, when in fact I'm waveform. So she's saying here that it is like a rope we've been pulling on. So even though we think something is set in stone, it is in fact a rope we have been exerting energy to pull upon, right? We've been exerting energy to keep it the way that it is, because everything that exists around us and through us is taking our energy. Every single thing in our life, everything, like everything on my desk is taking a little bit of energy from me to exist. So I need to look at it and say, do you belong here? Like, do I want you here? Like, does this belong? Do I want to put my energy into that thing right there? And I have to choose. Is supporting me? Do I get energy back from this? Like I have all these little boxes. I have this really cute box on my desk, and I love this box, and I actually get a lot of energy from this box. This belonged to my parents, and I keep really beautiful little crystals in it. And they're just gorgeous. And I have this really cool one. This is very special salts, and then I have all these really special crystals. And I have this one, total tangent. This one I picked up in Iceland, and when you look at it through it, you can see rainbows. So anyways, I actually found it in Iceland. And so anyways, the point is that I met someday I may feel like this is no longer feeding me in some way, that I may feel like it's no longer belongs on my right now. It's stay on my desk because I really like it, but I might not always feel that way. I might feel like it's clutter or it's in the way or that I need that space for something else. So so it's really this idea that everything in our life is a rope that we are pulling on. And right now we have the opportunity where the other end of that rope is going to get set down, and we can keep pulling on it, but it's very hard to have a tug of war by yourself. So what do we do? What do we do when this happens? When there's nothing to pull hard upon, then she says you can only rest, set things down, and wonder what you are beginning. All right, next paragraph. The rattling is occurring in all places and time zones. There is not one place or person who is exempt from this period of refurbishment and reevaluation. All persons are subject to some degree of shaking loose in their lives. There will be something that you have counted upon that is no longer there or will no longer be there. So this is the two words I highlighted here are refurbishment and reevaluation, right? So this is really about refurbishment is taking something and making it new again. So it might not be a whole hog, like throw out the baby with the bathwater. It may be an adjustment. It may be a fine tuning, right? Or it could be a total reevaluation, like, okay, this whole thing is not working for me. It could be either. But it is going to be something that you've counted upon. So something fixed, something that just felt like a fixture in your life that you didn't question is going to be coming up for questioning. And then she says, the question is, how will it affect you? How will you choose to react to it? Will you cling to what has been, or will you release what is set down? Will you let it go, and will you allow yourselves to gestate in the unfamiliar? This is the opportunity before you to open your hearts to something new, to some new flavor of yourself, to some new opportunity you have not yet learned about. So, and this is really why she's bringing this forward right now, right? And this is the choice. It has to be, if this isn't something that's going to necessarily land in our lap. First, we're going to hear the rattling, and then it is up to us to make the choice. And then if we choose to let it go fully and to sit in the unfamiliar, to sit in the unknown, to gestate, right? To gestate is to allow something new to be born, to come forward, right? To birth something from inside of us. This is the idea. So she says that this is the opportunity before you to open your hearts to something new, a new flavor of yourself, to some new opportunity you have not yet learned about. Next paragraph, and this one's important. It says, it begins with the rattling. Rattling can create fear, the sense of some impending loss, and it can create within you a drawing inward, a settling yourself against what is new, of trying to maintain or keep a hold of what is trying very hard to break free. This will only lead you into a greater disbursement of energy, the loss of your own potential. It is giving away your own opportunity. So I highlighted this paragraph because this paragraph gets to the meat of it. Why does this matter? Like, why is it important that we pay attention to this right now? Why don't we just let the change happen and let the chips fall and we'll just go with the flow? It is because there is something important happening when we actively choose to let go, when we let something fall away, is we are freeing up energy. Like I was saying, as we let go, we let it go and our energy comes back to us. So if we don't do that, if we try to keep hold of it, we are in fact tugging harder and harder and harder on that rope. And that takes energy, right? So she says this will only lead you to a greater disbursement of energy. In other words, right now, whatever that habit is, whatever that relationship is, whatever that job is taking a set amount of energy. Let's take it's taking 50 watts of energy. If it starts trying to fall away and you are stressing out about it and you're staying up nights worrying about it and you're thinking about it and you're trying to overcompensate to try to keep it and hold on, and you know what that feels like, right? When you feel something slipping away and you're like, what can I do to keep it? And you keep working harder and harder and harder, greater disbursement of energy, right? You're spending an increasing amount of energy. So guess what that means? That you have less and less free energy available to create something new. So you're, rather than getting the benefit, which you're supposed to be getting from something leaving you, which is to free up energy, you're in fact depleting your energy. You're doing the opposite of what you want to do. So it is the loss of your potential. It's giving away your opportunity. And everything we do, every bit of healing we do, every change, Everything is generated from inside of us. We create our reality. So if we don't give ourselves the energy that we need, it's like trying to run a marathon on empty. All right, so next paragraph. Therefore, she says, I say, be on regard, be looking for what is shaking. Look for what is loosening. Look for what no longer has the same purchase upon your habits, your state of consciousness. What has begun to pull away from you, and let it go. Right? So this is that idea of the awareness. Our awareness is so important. It's just to keep this in mind. Let it percolate in the back of your mind. If you want to talk to your guides, tell them you're open. Help me to see it. Help me to see where the change is for me. And let it be. If it's going to be small, let it be small. If it's going to be big, let it be big. Just be open. And then she says, feel in your heart that there's a purpose for this. There's a reason for this, that you have finished something, that you have moved on, moved into a higher plane or state of being. This is a sign of your progress forward. This is evidence that your life has made a difference for you already, that you are changed from within, and that your old way, your old world no longer suits you. And I like the word suit because it makes me think again of the skin of the rattlesnake. The snake is shedding its old suit, right? And getting a new suit. That I love this to help us recast the concept of what change in our lives means. I think a lot of times we assume when something moves away from us, it's hard not to feel like failure. It's hard not to feel like, and it can be, here's a crazy thing. You can have, let's say you have a friendship that it has lost its luster in one way or another, that you just feel like you're just not as close anymore, that you just don't connect with that person in the same way, that when you see them, it's just not as fun as it used to be, and that you have less in common. But if all of a sudden that friend started moving away from you in some tangible way, you would get your feelings hurt. Right? You would get upset. You'd be like, well, why don't they want to be friends with me? You don't want to be friends with them. You just haven't said it yet. But you are hurt because they don't want to be friends with you, right? And that's what we do. And we do this to ourselves. So it is this idea that it is to recast that, to help us let go of the feeling of that we failed in some way, or that we've done something wrong, is to recognize that when change happens in our lives, it's because we've grown. And to see it, to celebrate it, to say, wow, okay, wow, you're not returning my phone calls anymore. I must have really grown, like I must be a higher vibe than I was before, because this person who I was already falling out of vibes with, right? They're not calling me. So this must be proof that I am ready to move on, that I have reached that new next higher state of consciousness for me, the next thing for me that has come around. So how do we recast this, keep this in mind, and recast whatever it is? And sometimes change comes with a crash, right? Sometimes it does not feel good. Like my friend whose job just is ending, right? That could be a scary feeling. But the truth, and I know this for a fact for her, is that is ending to open the door to something new. And I know this. So it really is a sign that she has healed and moved through what she needed to heal and move through in that situation. And it truly was a healing experience. And now she's ready to close the door. But what we want is both doors open at the same time, because that's what we are. We want all the choices, and we want to just step from one to the next. And this is the hardest thing for us to embrace, is this idea that is not how our energy works. That's not how anybody's energy works, right? That we have a finite amount that we can only transmit as much energy through our body vessel as we can. We have a certain amount of resistance, and there's a certain amount that we can flow through. And if a big chunk of that is going over to this old thing, we do not have enough to generate a brand new thing. It's like math, right? So the point is to reframe this and say the stillness is not scary. The stillness doesn't mean I failed, doesn't mean I'm not good enough, doesn't mean I'm not loved. It means that I have moved on, I've progressed, I am ready to give birth to something that comes from this new higher state that I have just claimed for myself. And I'm going to give myself the time and the space that I need to let it come forward, whatever that might be. So, and then she says, let that, where is it? That you are changed, and that your old world no longer suits you. Let that which served be by. Let it go, and in the state of unknowing, stay. Be at rest, be at peace. So then she says, have faith that something, somewhere, someone will settle in your field of view very soon. And if you are in a state of peace, if you are willing to let go what must go its own road, your energy will be filled and renewed by the rest in between. Your state of consciousness will become opened and expressive, and new thoughts will enter into that dormant state. So this is that idea that the period of rest when we're not doing something is really important. And we so often are not good at letting that period do what it needs to do. What we do is we fill it with anxiety and trying super, super hard to generate the next thing, right? We're like, oh my gosh, my job just went away. I've got to go start filling out 15 applications a day, and I'm going to judge my worthiness to exist by how many applications I do. Right? That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to feel super scared, and I'm going to be up at night worrying about it. And I'm going to wake up and do 15 more every single day. Otherwise, I am no good. Like, that's what we do to ourselves. and rather than saying, wow, okay, I am in a period of gestation. What do I do to free up my consciousness so that I can make space for the new to come in? So this means there needs to be room to breathe, right? There needs to be space for creativity, for openness. So this is the time that if you get your best insights when you're being active and physical, go on a hike, right? Go on a bike ride. If you are that person that gets your insights when you're doing the laundry, make the space to, do your house stuff, but in a place of joy, and space and peace. Like, try to create the mental and emotional space for gestation to happen. So gestation can't happen. You can't birth something new when you are contracted and tight, right? Think about that. Like, when we're worried and stressed and we're like, I got to create something great. Like, it doesn't work. It just can't. There's no room. We got to relax and take advantage of and that doesn't mean do nothing, because sometimes, like, energy has to move. Like, if we sit in total stillness, energy isn't moving. Even in the stillness, quote unquote, you want a gentle flow of the river. Think of it as like rapids versus like when the river's just flowing gently. It looks like the river is sitting still, but there's a lot of motion happening underneath the water, right? That a river never sits still. So even in the stillness, you are not sitting still. You want to be in a gentle pace of movement without anxiety or stress. So that might mean that you are putting yourself out there. It might mean that you change your LinkedIn profile if you're needing a new job. Maybe it means that you do send out a couple things, but you're not doing it in a space of like stress and anxiety and like trying to create. You're just looking for inspiration. You're trying things on. You're like, this looks interesting. This looks interesting. You're allowing yourself to flow and be guided. Very different feeling, right? And you're making space for that creative potential to rise from inside of you, doing things that are not necessarily work, taking advantage. If you all of a sudden lose your job, go on a weekend getaway, like go visit somewhere, have some fun, like do something cool with your time, because that's part of the work. So, okay. So then she says, so your big thing, your energy will be filled and renewed by the rest in between, right? So super important. We want to get as much energy as possible. The more energy you build up in this period of rest, the cooler the new thing is that you create, right? Because it's the more energy you can put towards it. So, and then she says, you will gestate something unfamiliar, something new, something untried, unspoken. This is a time, this is a moment. It starts with a rattling. Notice. What can you let go of? What has anchored you, kept you down into an older state of consciousness, an older sense of yourself, an old way of being, and let it go. Next paragraph, she says, there will be no troublesome occurrences in the creation of what is coming. There will not be a thought from within you that I should have kept it. What if I had only stayed? The only reluctance is found in the moment of letting go. Once it is gone, and you will not release your faith in yourself in the process. You will instead find yourself in a new placement of growth, in an avenue through which your potential can be more easily found. So this addresses our fear of regret. That thought of, wow, if I clean out my closet and I get rid of those track shoes from when I was in high school, I might need them, next week. I might need those track shoes. And we fear that. And what she's saying is just let it go. The only moment that we will experience that regret is in the moment of letting go. And once we let it go, we will experience the energy that we've just freed up, and we will be happy it's gone. So it's just the actual process of letting go that's painful for us. And it's difficult sometimes for us to separate the two, because the way that we are architected is that we think our emotions are our truth. And we assume that the way we feel right now is how we will feel forever. We assume that this feeling I'm having right now is telling me a truth about reality. So if I am, and I'm using the track shoe example because that was my dad. And when I was like 10 years old, he paid me $50 to clean out his closet. And my dad was a shopper, like a shopper with all the consonants pronounced a lot. Shopper. He shopped a lot. And he had a messy closet. And it took me 3 days to clean out his closet. But and I found like he bought the same pair of shoes 3 times because he didn't even know they were in there. I found 3 pairs of the same exact shoes. But one of the things I found, and remember I was 10, is I found his high school track shoes. And I pull them out and I'm like, can we let these go? And he's like, no, my high school track shoes. Oh, how exciting. And so we all went down to the track at the high school so he could wear his track shoes and we could jog around the track. And he jogged around the track one time and it gave him the worst blisters you can imagine. And then he was ready to let him go. But but my point is the reluctance is in the moment of letting it go. And then afterwards, we feel the experience of, wow, okay, this is now. And like, I will tell you, my dad was so happy after his closet was cleaned out. And he could find everything. Think about how much energy he saved, not only in not spending money is energy. He spent money buying the same shoes 3 times. That's 3 times the energy that he needed to spend on those shoes. And then every time he came into his closet after that, everything was all of his. And I'm like one of those people that organizes my spices. So his ties were color coordinated. He had socks color coordinated. It was perfection. It was like gorgeousness. Marie Kondo wanted to be me in that moment. Everything was awesome. And that meant my dad saved so much time and energy coming in, and he felt great because it was like, look at my closet. Like, think about all that energy that he just got that fueled him, that lifted him up. So the reluctance, was only in the moment of letting the shoes go. So and then she says in the new avenue that our potential can be more easily found. So this is a key piece of it, is that we can't find our new potential until we make the space for it. So next paragraph, how do we do this? What do we do? And so here she starts going into this, the how. How do we navigate this void space? She says, I wish for you to stir your heart in these matters and to let it decide, let it choose. Let your heart lead you as you are opening to this new potential. Let your body take on its own sense of things. Let it wander. Let it try things. Feel not the urge to control, to choose, to premeditate. Simply exist and continue. And this is all. So what I like here, notice she doesn't say sit still in your house and do nothing. She says wander, try things, do things, experiment, right? You're still a river. So you still want to flow. You're just not in the rapids anymore. You're in the still part of the river that's still flowing. So you want to continue to move and be open to inspiration. Then she says, and in this state of the unknowing, which I understand is not easy for you, there are new answers yet to be met, and they will not come in the form that you were wanting. They will not be given to you, offered to you neatly tied up in an envelope. They will instead rise from within you, one piece at a time, as you are willing. And the more energy and potential you have generated by letting go, the greater freedom you will find in your field for the creation of what is new. So, and this is so true about everything that we are going through on our spiritual journey, is that our de facto, our default is to try to find answers outside of ourselves. This is our default. So what do we do when we get to a place where we have a ton of uncertainty? We're like, I need a reading. I need to book a psychic who's going to tell me what's coming. I'm going to get an astrology reading. Someone's going to tell me what's coming, right? I'm going to wait for something to land on my desk. It's going to tell me this is what you're going to do. And she's saying it's not going to come that way because you have to create it. So it's super fascinating. So last night, my son, wait, I got to make sure. Okay, I can't tell this story. I'm so sorry. Whoops, I don't have permission to tell this story. My son came over for dinner last night and something happened. It was cool. That's all I can say. All right, I'm moving on. I don't have permission to tell that one. I'll just tell you something else. So the point here is that it's not going to be given to us as something that is going to be outside of ourselves, that we have to make the space for this to be created. And if we haven't given us ourselves that space, it's going to come in a little bit at a time. So if we go looking for answers before it's baked from inside of us, it's not ready yet, right? It is like a brand new thing. So imagine if you like for me in my vegetable garden, like it is so tempting to dig something up to see if it's growing. Like my carrots, or my parsnips. Like I'm like, how big are they? Like, are they growing? Maybe I should pull one up and just check and just see. But you know what happens when I pull it up is it dies. It doesn't live anymore. And so, and this is how we are, is that we want our answers today. Chris knows what I'm talking about. And so the point is that we have to let ourselves be in the not knowing. And it's really hard for us to sit in the not knowing. And so we have to do whatever we can do, like whatever techniques, it's going to be different for all of us, whatever techniques work for you to be willing to get the information a teeny bit at a time. So like with my parsnips, I can see that the leaves on the top are getting bigger. I can see the evidence of growth. I just really want to know, like, is it working? And I just have to let that go. And that's me wanting to control it, because why do I want to know? Because I want to know if I should do something. That's why. I want to know because I think I have to do something to create it. So I keep thinking I need the information. I need to know. What if that's our head and not our heart speaking? Our heart says, you've put the seed in the ground, let it gestate, let it grow. The heart is directing us in this process, right? When we're in our head, we're like, well, I'm the one that's making the parsnip grow. That's what our head says, which is ridiculous, but we think we are. I was just talking about this with someone the other day so there was back in the day when I worked at Microsoft early in my career. And I came in the 90s, and I came in at a time when there was a lot of people who'd been there during a major, like the stock had gone way up, and there were people who were sitting on like retirement money. And what was fascinating, here I was coming in at a recent college grad, and I was making so little money. Like it was like at one point I needed a raise because they promoted me to this new job. And my salary was so low, they had to get approval to move me to the new job from the VP of my division. And he saw my salary and he laughed out loud and said, how can anyone live on that? I was like, that is just not funny to me. I tell you, it was not funny in the moment. But my point is I was not making retirement money, but other people were. And there was people I talked to, this one guy I talked to who was thinking about leaving. And he was talking about how he was going to start this business or start this business. And what was amazing to reflect on looking back at that is that in his head, he was making the assumption that he made the parsnip grow, that he had gotten this big chunk of money and he thought it was because of him and his head and what he did and how he created that big pile of money. Rather than understanding that, no, he was put in this position. Life conspired to put him in a position where he was going to receive this big pile of money. But if he had sat there and thought about it and created it and overworked it, it probably wouldn't have been created. And if he went on to the next place, there's no guarantee if he was thinking and conniving and trying to create it, it wasn't going to be created. That it was going to come from whether or not he was listening to the flow of his own direction, of his heart trying to guide him to where he's going to go. As a matter of fact, there may have been many, many times where he tried to leave that job and he would have missed out on that big pile of money, but spirit conspired to keep him there until he got that big payday. So if this is true, then it means that if he had left and started something new, thinking that creation started from his head and he tried to create it again from his head, what's the likelihood of success? It's very low. And that's actually what happened. There was all these people that left thinking that they had the magic stuff that made that money happen. And they started a bunch of businesses and a bunch of businesses failed because they were in their head. So it is an interesting thing to think about, this idea of letting it flow from the heart rather than the head, being willing to be in the uncertainty, being willing to let things grow without our direction, without controlling it. And it's, you guys, I am working on this right now. I had a dream about this last night and I'm sitting with it and I got to figure out how to work on it. And I'm not sure yet, but I had a dream where, in the dream, I'm going with the guy, me and a guy are going to some sort of an event. It's almost like a school type event. It's some place where I'm supposed to go, where I'm going to be getting something. And the guy is my masculine energy. And he's super confident and he's moving along. And we get to this area where we're supposed to be going down to where the event is. And I can see it. It's down below me. It's like, and in order to get there, there's a staircase, but the staircase is incredibly steep. And everything is under construction, which is great because it means that construction in a dream, it's like I'm under construction, that I'm in a process of healing or changing, which we all are, right? Which we just talked about. We're in this process of change. So I'm seeing the changes I'm making in my life reflected in my dreams. So, but the guy that I'm with, he just takes off and he goes down the stairs all the way down to the bottom like that, lickety split. So that's awesome. That means my masculine energy is working from my heart. Yes. But here I am representing my feminine energy. And I get to the staircase and I realize I only have socks on. It's pouring rain and the steps down are steep. And I go down a couple of steps and then I get to a place where it's literally the step is 3 feet high and there's like handrails on the side that are like the ones you use to get in and out of a deep pool, you know? And that's how I'm supposed to go down these steps. And all I have on is socks and it's pouring rain. And then the steps start to move, right? Because it's under construction, it starts to wiggle. And I get super freaked out. So this dream is showing me that, okay, you got your masculine energy is in your heart. Good job. Your feminine energy, there's a layer of my feminine and it's probably around spiritual leadership. It's going to be something around my feminine gifts that needs to get, and it's going to be something about this creation that's coming through me right now. I'm freeing up all this time, all this energy. I have the energy for this healing because I've been changing all my habits, right? Freeing up my energy. But there's something about my feminine energy, my spiritual gifts that come from the feminine energy that needs to come down into my heart. And I'm sure it's going to be related to the creation. I'm in the process of creating a bunch of new things. So I've got the new book coming out. I've got I'm trying to create a workshop series that I'm super excited to teach from the book. And it's going to be all about creating in the new way. But I don't know what it is yet. Like I don't fully understand it yet. I have to open my heart to let it be just gestate from inside of me. And so this is showing me, get your energy down into your heart, right? And the fact that I have socks on, I don't even have shoes on yet. They're like, dude, you got to do some shifting. So this is my dream last night. So yeah, so it really is a thing. And it happens, and I share that to say, no, I'm not perfect at all. And you guys know I'm always working on myself and there's always layers. There's always more that we can do. And I'm excited. When I get a dream like that, it is such a win because now I actually know where I can focus. And I understand, like I'm trying to learn what is this new form of creation that we're meant to be doing. I've learned a lot about it, but how do I embody it? How do I do it? So when I figure it out, I'll share it with you. When I get it wired, I will let you know, and then we can all do it. So, all right, the next paragraph. She says, the scale of these changes are different for everyone. Some of you will find enormous changes come into your lives at this time. For some, it will be less important, but equally transformative in their own way. Allow yourselves to be at peace with what is on offer for you. Do not question your own reliability without what has begun to transform. Do not worry that you will be less of a person without it. So, and that is a thing, right? Who am I without that? Like if you lose a job and the job's a big part of your identity, who am I without that job? Who am I without, if you've been a full-time parent for a lot of years and then your son moves across the country, who am I without that, without that being such a huge part of my life? Who am I without whatever it is that's falling away? Will I still be okay? And so it's opening up and sometimes in major ways to change our sense of self-identity and to let something new come in. But she's saying, don't question, right? Do not question that you'll be all right. She's trying to reassure us, you are going to be fine. She says, simply open your heart to the change that is occurring from within you and realize that reality is a reflection. You are transforming and so is your world. So the fact that you are hearing the rattle means that you've changed. And all we got to do is make space for that change to be something significant for us. So it's really exciting. I love, like I said, so many levels of this that I really, really love. And I really like this idea that we are okay with what we let go, that we'll be okay anyways, and to sit in that void space and this gets to that idea and that I'm trying to work through right now, that how do I fully create from my heart and how do I get out of my head? What's the balance? Because there's a certain amount where we do need to be logical. We do need to be in the world and we do need to think. But I know from Isla that the mind needs to serve the heart. The heart has to always take the first step. And so now I need to really look at everything I'm doing and say, where is it that I'm not letting the heart lead? I don't know yet. I haven't figured it out. I just had the dream last night. So it's a question for me. But I do know, like the example of the parsnip, right? That I need to just let stuff grow. It's the same thing as like a baby. Like when a baby is in the womb growing, the baby doesn't sit there and focus and say, like, I am now growing arms. Like the baby doesn't do that. Like the arms just grow. The baby's in there doing baby things. It's just being a baby. It's not like it's not like making the arms happen. But we think we are. We think that we are the ones building it, creating it, making it happen. We don't realize everything is energy. Everything. We assume, and I think we build this up from infancy, when we learn that we push a button, we push a doorbell and the doorbell rings. We push an elevator button and the doors close. Like we start to think that when we do something, that's what makes things happen. And we get disconnected from the idea that yes, action is important in this world. Like there is a truth behind physical action and what the things that we do to make energy move. But we lose entirely the whole point of like whatever it is that comes into our field of opportunity is dictated by the heart, all of it. And we forget that. And we start to focus so much on pushing the button that we forget all about the heart. So we have to put those back in order, right? And put the head behind the heart and realize we have to learn how to work with energy in this new way. And I wish I had all the answers. I have some good answers I've been getting from Isla, and I'm hoping for some more. And I'll share them with you as I get them until we can really embody this and learn to create in the new way. But every little bit matters. We can start practicing these now. There's things we can do now to embody this new energy. And that's what Isla's been sharing with us and teaching with us in these last many messages. Thank you so much for joining me today, for sharing the message. It's been awesome. I loved the conversation today. Sending you so much love. I will see many of you at our Lift Our Light weekend. This weekend, I'll see you on Saturday. And otherwise, I will see you next Friday live. Bye, you guys.